are looking at historic Strobel Field. This has been home of the Blue Streaks since 1936, and we're ready to bring you football here in the U 2019 as we get set to go with the Sandusky Blue Streaks against Springfield, the Blue Devils, out of the Toledo area. And hi again, everyone. Glad to have you on board alongside Bill Needham. Ken Walters ready to bring you the first matchup between these two high schools, Bill.
Yeah, this is the first time they're going to see each other, and it's kind of an important week for everybody. The second week is when the teams make their greatest advance. They saw what they did wrong in week one. They've had a week to correct it, and now week two is the time to put things together and come out firing.
And you talk about things that didn't go well. We can talk about Springfield. Boy, they got whitewashed big time by that team out of Toledo Central Catholic. But again, you're talking about one of the very best teams in the state of Ohio.
You're right. At 48-0 was the score, and I saw one run was a 97-yard touchdown by their running back. But as Coach said, you know, you have to play them. They're in the area. They're a good program. They're only a Division II, so you go in and go ahead and play them because they'd be in their region also. They did the best they could against it, and they learned some important things from it.
For sure. Now, you take this ball club from Springfield. They've got some new players on the club. They lost a lot of offensive linemen. They were a playoff team last year. They ended up 7-4 on the season. Got a quarterback, a transfer coming in first year as a QB for Springfield. We're talking about Darnell Thomas, good athlete.
Darnell Thomas is an outstanding athlete, and there had to be a reason why he wanted to move over to Springfield. It's a good program. It's a winning program, and he's a winner himself. So he's got a strong arm. He's a great athlete. So he'll be a double threat for Sandusky. They're going to have to try to stop the throw, and when they do that, if they send too many people into the secondary, he's a threat to take off with the ball.
And they are a very quick football team in their skilled positions for sure. We go over the other side of the field, the Sandusky Blue Streaks. My, what a victory last week to open up the season in overtime, knocking off Padua 20-17. And the Blue Streaks have to feel real good about a win on the road.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a long way to go, as I know. It's right around my neighborhood, but that's a long way to go to play a quality team that made the playoffs in the last couple of years, and they have put out a good defense against the Streaks. But the Streaks are going to have to go back to what they do best, and that's run the ball to be successful.
Well, you're talking Sandusky last year, 8-5. They had a lot of hiccups later part of the season, but they righted the ship. Were able to win a couple of playoff games. And let's be honest, folks, we have an opportunity to see one of the premier players in the state of Ohio. We hope he's healthy tonight. We're talking about the All-Ohio running back, Terrion Stewart.
The numbers are just fabulous. 39 touchdowns last year, 61 touchdowns for his career, over 2,700 rushing yards last year. He has a chance to break the 6,000 mark for his career and move into maybe the top 5 in the state in history for the state of Ohio. But he's got to get things moving. Last week, things didn't work well for the running game, but he still helped out the team by becoming an expert blocker on the passing game. So he did what he could to make the team successful and get that W.
And that was the key word, make the team successful, as they did win that game 20-17 in overtime. So we got our first matchup here between Springfield and Sandusky. Should be an intriguing one, but before we get to the ball game, we've got Coach's Corner coming up straight ahead as you're watching high school football here on BCSN. Welcome into Coach's Corner here at Strobel Field, Cedar Point Stadium, and I'm joined by the head coach of the Sandusky Blue Streaks, Mike Franklin, now in season number 14 on the sidelines for the blue and white. And Coach, first and foremost, before we start talking about tonight's ball game, we've got to talk about last week, and folks have to understand the quality of that win that you had against Padua. If you could, please, last possession you guys had of the game, take us back and take us through that last possession and scoring to tie the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we really need to talk about our defense that kept us in the game for 3.5 quarters. I mean, that was the most important piece, and then getting the pick right there at the beginning of overtime. But you know, our guys, you know, I think we were at a high level at that point, and you know, it took us 2 plays to go 20 yards, and you know, I think our quarterback did a tremendous job. Up front, we did a tremendous job, and you know, there was no quitting these guys, and I think they grew up a lot.
So the takeaway from that first victory against Padua, what would that be from the coach's perspective?
Maturity, you know, watching kids grow up, and you know, there should be no doubt going forward as far as, you know, what we can do when we got our back against the wall.
Looking at Springfield, Holland, you haven't played these guys before. They come out of the Northern Lakes League. I know film doesn't tell you a lot, and I don't think you want to talk about that first game they had against Toledo Central Catholic, but your assessment on what you've seen and what you've been able to get from the scouting report.
The score, I don't think, really tells the story.
No.
I mean, they're a good football team, and obviously they were against a really good football team. But, you know, team speed, the chemistry is going to come along. You know, they got a first-year quarterback that's just with the team. You know, that team's going to grow as, you know, week by week. So, you know, we've got to be awfully careful when we look at that score. And you know, we've got team speed, but they have just as much.
We talk about the Blue Streaks offensively. You know, Terrion Stewart was a critical component to last year's success. And you look at your side of the ball, what do you have to do to be successful tonight?
We have to pick up their pressure. They're going to bring a ton of pressure at us all night long from their defense. And then offensively, we got to stop the big plays.
I mentioned Terrion Stewart. People talk about his health, but certainly he's a critical component to your offense in scoring points this year.
Absolutely. You know, Terrion's going to be right there with us. You know, he's playing. You know, Terrion's, you know, 80%, 90% is as good as a lot of people's 100%. And but you know, we're going to be you know, cautious, just like last week. I mean, he was very limited last week, and we weren't going to put him in a situation in which it's going to hurt him for the rest of the year.
Good to be home here at Strobel Field, and good to have the Blue Streaks here on BCSN. And I'm going to take it over to Bill Needham. He's on the Springfield side.
Thanks, Ken. We're on the sidelines with the head coach of the Springfield Blue Devils, Pat Gucciardo. And Coach, first of all, you start the 2019 season out with a big challenge, taking on one of the better programs in the entire Toledo area and maybe even the state of Ohio. How did you evaluate your team's performance in that first ball game?
You know, not very good, to be honest with you. You know, we've been a pretty good football team ourselves in the last 6-7 years, and state playoff team ourselves. You know, Central Catholic is a great challenge, and they're a great challenge for anybody. I expected a little bit more out of our guys, and hopefully we made some corrections and get things squared away for today.
And again, you're on the road to face a strong opponent in the Sandusky Blue Streaks with an outstanding running back, just like you saw last week. So what's your game plan today to stop the running of Terrion Stewart?
Yeah, Terrion's a great tailback, and you know, did a lot of film study on him this year and last year, and you know, he's somebody that you're not going to stop. You know, somebody that you're going to want to contain and make him earn his yards, and he'll definitely do that tonight. I'm sure he's going to get 20-30 carries tonight, and he should. And you know, our goal is not to give up the big play, make them earn, you know, anything that they get, and you know, when you do that, the opportunities of turning the ball over is there for you, as opposed to giving up a big play here and there. So, you know, we're going to make him earn it. We're going to try to contain him, and we know what he can do, and you know, we're going to do our best.
And the Blue Streaks defense was pretty solid for almost 4 quarters last week. How do you plan on attacking that defense of the Blue Streaks?
Well, they've got a great defensive front, and I like their linebacking core. You know, a couple of young kids in the secondary. I thought they played very well, though. You know, we're going to do what we do. You know, we've been you know, relatively prolific at throwing the football and running the football. One of the better offenses in the area for a long time, and you know, we didn't show that last week, and we got to get back to what we do best, and you know, that's moving the football and scoring points. So, you know, we're going to give it our best shot.
Well, Coach, we wish you the best of luck tonight and throughout the season, and thanks for this interview on BCSN.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Stay with us. Get your popcorn ready. Nestle into that comfy chair as we're ready for the North Shore Running Store opening kickoff coming up next.
When it comes to getting sick, your body doesn't always wait for business hours. Introducing Firelands Virtual Care. When you're not feeling your best, Virtual Care allows you to speak online with a medical professional right away, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And yes, at any time of the day or night. No appointment necessary. To get started, visit firelands.com/virtualcare to download our app. Care is just a click away.
Welcome back to Strobel Field. 83 years of football been played on this historic site as we get set to go with the opening kickoff, and that's being brought to you by North Shore Running Store, located at 178 East Market Street in downtown Sandusky. They're offering the complete line of top brand running and walking shoes, apparel, accessories, gait analysis, nutritional items, and more. That's North Shore Running Store at 178 East Market Street in Sandusky. We're set to go, folks. First ball game of Strobel Field here in 2019. It's Springfield out of the Toledo area. They call themselves the Blue Devils, going against the Blue Streaks of Sandusky. And glad to have you with us alongside Bill Needham, Ken Walters, and our BCSN crew, ready to bring you this, the first home game of the year. The Streaks 1-0 on the season, and I want to correct myself. They won that ball game in overtime 20-14 against Parma Padua, not 20-17. As we know, the guys from Springfield, they lost 48-0 to Toledo Central Catholic. But we're underway here from Strobel Field here, the opening kickoff. Noah Caston going to break it out to the 30, across the 40. Caston down the sideline, going to step out of bounds across the 50, and we'll see where they spot this. But a nice return by that senior Noah Caston, 170 pounds, and he's got wheels, Bill Needham.
Oh, absolutely. Got nice blocking wall set up on the sidelines, but you know what? He's going to get it from his buddies, because there's one thing you don't let happen to you when they're kick returner is let the kicker make the tackle.
So here's a look at that starting lineup for the Blue Streaks. Of course, number 4 is your featured player. Talking about the first team All-Ohio candidate, that's Terrion Stewart. But keep an eye on their quarterback, Chauncey Aaron. He's a good one, folks. He's really improved from last year. And, of course, that big offensive line of the blue and white. They're going to have to move people off the ball here this evening, and they do have a distinct advantage up front on the weight side. So the Blue Streaks, they're going to scrimmage 1st and 10. Ball's right at midfield. Out of the shotgun. Aaron gets a block at the corner, 45, 40 down the sideline. He's going to keep going to the 20. Chauncey Aaron, they're going to step him out of bounds. I believe he did, folks, at about the 30-yard line. So they're going to move the chains, but he was close, Bill, maybe just a foot out of bounds, and he was in for 6.
I was watching the Springfield defense. When they saw where Stewart was, they brought an inside linebacker up on the line of scrimmage to put a heavy load of the defense on that side of the field, and Sandusky Smart went the other way.
Well, a 20-yard pickup for the quarterback, Aaron, and Sandusky's in business here at the 30. Again, Springfield, they're out of the Northern Lakes League, located over in the greater Toledo area. Nothing in fake to Stewart, but the defense for Springfield right there. First down, the tackle is going to be Terrell Smith, 180-pound linebacker, so a loss of 5.
Springfield's playing a 3-4 defense and then overloading wherever Stewart is in the backfield.
And they are aggressive. As you get a look at that defense for Springfield, again, not big up front, but like Bill said, they can do a lot of different things out of that 3-4. Aaron will roll right. Looking for some running room. He'll get nothing as he crossed the 35. Looks like a flag down at the 34-yard line. So Aaron was bounced out of bounds.
Springfield brought both inside linebackers on the Red Dog, but the Streaks picked it up. And it looks like it's going to go against the Streaks.
So officials along the far side there in front of the Springfield bench. They have a decision to make here. They can move that down box around. Sandusky's looking now at possibly a 3rd and 14, or they can roll them back here. So they're going to roll them back. Look at that play on the edge. Aaron tried to get to the corner, but they're going to call a block in the back, and that's going to back Sandusky up now to the 44-yard line.
The receiver was in a difficult position. He wanted to help his quarterback out by getting a block, but the receiver had already, or the defender had already moved in front of him. They'd been better off just to let him go and turn upfield.
Well, you're looking at 2nd down, but you've got 24 yards to go now. So they'll empty the backfield for Aaron. He'll look to run, and he's going to be wrapped up after maybe a yard. That's going to do it. He's in there defensively is Garrett Pasker, only a sophomore. So not much going on that 2nd down play. They'll bring up the 3rd down at the 43-yard line.
The Sandusky offensive line has got to get some movement. They're lined up shoe to shoe to prevent blitzing. There's no gap in between the alignment, but they've got to get some movement off the ball. and move those Blue Devils down the field.
Aaron to throw. Looking. Going to go up top. Got a man open. Touchdown, Sandusky! He threw it up and able to bring it down was Noah Caston. He just basically verticaled up and out jumped the defense, and he was able to score the touchdown for Sandusky. So Chauncey Aaron, Bill's beat him. He put that ball up high, and he went up and got it. You get another look at this play.
He put a lot of air under that, hung it up in the air, and allowed his offensive receiver to go up and get it. And that's senior leadership. There was a guy that wanted a touchdown.
Noah Caston, folks, the 5'10", 170-pound junior. He comes up big for the Blue Streaks. Last week, Noah had 8 catches for 119 yards, so he's their go-to guy. Extra point coming. Uprights are split by Michael Franklin. And the Sandusky Blue Streaks facing that long 23-yard third down play. They converted for a touchdown. So at 10-12 remaining opening quarter, the Sandusky Blue Streaks are on the board. They lead 7-0 as you're watching high school football here on BCSN. Blue Streaks set to kick this one away as Franklin will put the foot in it. High kick, going to come down at about the 5-yard line. And the Sandusky defense is there. Wrap them up at about the 17. So Devin Johnson able to get out only to about the 17-yard line, and that's where Springfield will set up shop. 1st and 10 go the Blue Devils. And here's a look at the starting 11 on the offensive side of the ball. And Darnell Thomas, that senior quarterback, transferred over from Scott. He's kind of their go-to man, and I believe that's the coach's son. Is that correct?
Yes.
Ty Giarducci. So here we go. Springfield running out of the gun, 1st and 10. Bouncing outside, picking up a couple tough yards. Ty Giarducci. So look at that Blue Streak defense, and these are veterans up front. Wright Hunter, along with Rashawn Redding, Vinny D'Amico. Those guys started last year. They got London Havens, a real force at that linebacking position, and a very experienced secondary in Caston and Xavier Turner. Those guys can go and play man up on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Ken. Those guys got a lot of experience in last year, and they are very heady, smart players in the secondary.
2nd and 6. Whistle, stop play, look like a procedure.
That last running play, Springfield, it looked like they had collapsed the entire right side of the Sandusky defense, but the cornerback came up in a hurry and shut that play down.
You know, you're talking Noah Caston, Xavier Parker. You're talking about 2 young men that can go get the football, good open field tacklers. In fact, Xavier Parker had 6 interceptions from that secondary last year for the Streaks. So they mark him back 5. We're going to bring up a 2nd and 12 now. Thomas going to wing one up. Going to go over everyone's head into the sideline. Strong arm going from that far hash mark.
A lot of times teams will try to run a spot pattern. That is, the quarterback's going to throw it to a spot on the field and hope the receiver can run to it. That one was a little bit off the field. See some big kids on that offensive line.
Well, that was part of the ball club. They had to rebuild. They lost a lot of good offensive linemen off of that squad last year that went to the playoffs. They were 7-4 on the season. Slant pass, and that's going to be dropped. So here's Sandusky working a 3 and out. Going to get that football back and an opportunity to get good field position.
That was the tunnel screen, or there's a lot of different names for it, the jailbreak screen, or the Notre Dame screen, or different programs have different names for it. It probably would have been there for Springfield, but that ball was underthrown and incomplete. Using the 3 protectors on the punt, 3 big guys in the backfield. Very difficult to block a punt out of that formation. Best idea is to set things up.
So there's that shank, but Sandusky is really going to be in business now, folks, as they're going to get that at the 32-yard line. So nothing going for Springfield on their first possession, and the blue and white of Sandusky will step out on the field with an opportunity here, Bill. Great field position at the 32 of Springfield.
When a team gets a short field like that, that makes their offense a little bit easier. It opens up the playbook, gives you the opportunity to run just about anything you want to down here.
So Aaron again will work out of the shotgun in the backfield. Carry on Stewart. Stewart will try to swing wide, and they pursue to him. He's able to pick up a couple of yards.
Well, that was a better run by him. After watching the ball game last week, he was a little tentative in making cuts. At least in this run, he got to the outside quickly and made the cut upfield.
So now at 2:05, that running back, and he's verbal to Bowling Green State University as he begins his senior year. So again, he is a first-team All-State running back from 2018. As Aaron going to go out and over the head of his intended receiver, that being Noah Caston.
Caston was open. Pass sailed on Aaron. Sets up a 3rd down and long.
Well, at the 31, I tend to think you're in that 4-down area early in the ball game here with 8:54 remaining. As Chauncey Aaron, second-year quarterback for Sandusky, had a nice junior year, threw for about 700 yards in that offense last year, where the Blue Streaks were able to get to the regional finals. Won 8 games last year.
I don't think Coach Franklin's going to want to give his kicker a chance to kick a 50-yard field goal.
That pass was behind Mark Castile, and he was open on that quick slant, but he and Aaron not able to hook up, so that'll bring up a 4th and 9.
And that's the type of pass it is on timing and repetitions. You've got to have that down pat. And we mentioned that he did not play last year, Castile, so maybe he needs to get a little bit more repetitions in with Chauncey Aaron on that slant pattern.
And get used to the Friday night lights.
Absolutely.
Aaron reads it, going to try to go wide, and that's not going to work as they pursue well to the far side. A lot of blue helmets and white shirts over there to wrap up Chauncey Aaron.
If they had an RPO in the playbook, that would have been a great opportunity to throw the ball as the 3rd option, but Aaron was trying to break it on his own.
And you can see the pursuit. Hey, good work on that corner. That time by Tracy Groves, 180-pound junior DB, as he closed off the edge and stopped Sandusky. Great field position, but they come away empty. Blue Devils with the ball. They'll scrimmage from the 32. So this time under center.
They did have some trouble with short snaps.
Thomas going to read that. And on his way for a touchdown. Boy, you talk about reading the eyes of the quarterback. Noah Caston stepped in for an easy 6 as he cruises into the end zone for Sandusky. Bill, he read that so well, didn't he?
Oh, absolutely. If you had your eyes in the secondary, you can see that he had his eyes on the quarterback. Let's see if we can pick it up here. Watch him, he takes a step back, and there he comes. He arrived just as the ball did. Nobody's going to catch him. Noah Caston takes it to the house.
And the nice
for
thing
6.
is he stepped in, but he had coverage behind him, and Carry-On Keys was covering behind him. So he stepped in and got the easy 6 from 32 yards out. And the Blue Streaks have opened this thing up now to 13-0 as Franklin will attempt the PAT. And the sophomore will split the uprights. 8:33 remaining opening quarter, and the Sandusky Blue Streaks have jumped up on top here. 14-0 on that interception by number 15 for Sandusky, Noah Caston. High school football right here on BCSN.
Think your school has the most spirit? If you do, and it's true, prove it. Send us pics or video of your hype football student section on Twitter and tag us using hashtag BCSNE. Get creative and show your spirit. Weekly winners will be presented with cool shades thanks to Dewey Furniture. On November 8th, one lucky school with the most energy, creativity, submissions, and school spirit will be crowned season winner and be presented with the Dewey Furniture Football Student Section of the Season Championship belt. Follow BCSN Erie on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for rules and how to enter. Let the games begin.
125 years of football here at Sandusky High School as the Blue and White, one of the longest and oldest football programs in the state of Ohio when you talk high school football. Here at Sandusky as they've opened up an early lead. And straight up the field and getting out, still driving across the 30. Good return that time. He's able to bring that out is going to be Devin Johnson. Solid effort right there, Bill. He got about an 9 more yards on his own.
Yeah, a lot of coaches will look for yards after contact for return men. And he picked up about 15 more yards after the first hit. It looked like the Streaks had him stopped. But as you mentioned, he kept those legs churning, kept the body leaning forward, and got the ball out to the 34-yard line, which is the best field position so far for Springfield in this quarter.
So second possession, Darnell Thomas under center. Try to go inside. Blue Streaks stone him right there at the 35. Good pursuit. They close that down, and in to wrap up was Dazion Wright, that 205-pound senior linebacker. And he's an active player, Bill Neal.
As soon as that back tried to make a cut, there was London Havens waiting for him to put the hurt on him. And he sure did that. He unloaded.
Yeah, London Havens and Dazion Wright, they are quality high school football players for sure.
6'3", 255 at linebacker.
And quick. From the 35. This time out of the shotgun. Too much pressure. Boy, Sandusky right up the middle, able to explode and drop him back at the 25-yard line. Here you go again, Sandusky, as Philip Hunter in there. Tell you, Redding and Hunter, quick. Watch the pressure.
Well, the rollout, the quarterback tried to roll away from the pressure from Hunter, and right there was Redding waiting for him. I'll tell you, Redding had a great ball game last week. Heard his name announced a lot during that game against Padua. And he comes with the pressure here, so now what do you do? Springfield's had trouble throwing the ball. They've had trouble running the ball.
They're going to go up top here, across the middle on the slant. Looks like it's going to be complete out to about the 42-yard line, but that's going to bring them about 8 yards short. Cucciardo able to make that reception, so here you are now with a fourth and about
Just
3. So you make the call here, Bill. There's another look. You going to roll the dice here early in this ball game?
Well, you didn't have a good punt the last time, so Riverboat Gambler says, let's go for it. We're only going to get about 10, 15 yards if we punt, so maybe we go for that first down and keep the momentum on our side of the field.
Whistle. Yeah, I got a. They did. They're going to talk this one over, Bill. At the 43, and you're already down 14 zip.
Well, you're down 14, so what difference does it make, I guess, would be my attitude. It depends upon what they know about their punter.
Correct.
If that was just a mistake that happened and he's a better punter than that, then maybe, yeah, you want to go ahead and punt this one away and play some defense. But
early in the game, I guess you kind of err on the side of caution here. You've got to have a little faith in your ball club and let these young men know, hey, we're going to kick the ball away and see if we can play some defense. But that's being decided right now on that far side. If you get a look at the defense for the Sandusky Blue Streaks, coaches around them.
And, of course, the key is to make sure you watch the ball Don't listen to the cadence. Make sure the ball is snapped before you move. Move on movement, because you don't want to give them that easy first down by jumping into the neutral zone.
Well, again, it's Sandusky High School. They started playing football back in the year 1895, folks. 1895 was the first year they played football, and the date for those interested in such things was November 2nd. They took on Fremont Ross, and they won
Surprise,
that ball.
huh?
Yep. Yeah. Beat Fremont 6-0, came back, beat Norwalk the next week 5-0, and they finished up against Clyde, winning that ball game 4-0. So here we go. 4th and 3, roll the dice. Quarterback keeper, stuffed at about the 41-yard line. Absolutely nothing as Darnell Thomas runs into a wall, and the team in blue and white has held. So here's another look at this. Boy, you talk about getting there in a hurry. Kenyon McCarty and London Havens.
Defense had everything covered that time. They even had the running back stopped if you'd given the ball off. So another short field for the Blue Streaks as they're going to start at the 41-yard line.
Again, that offensive line is somewhat inexperienced for Springfield. They graduated a number of the guys off that front five. So opportunity for the blue and white again. Aaron to throw. Now he's going to go inside. Terrion Stewart with a cutback. Terrion Stewart breaking tackles. Terrion Stewart at the 20. It's going in for the touchdown. There is Terrion Stewart, folks, right there. That is the All-Ohio running back, ladies and gentlemen. You saw him go in, standing up from 41 yards. Power, Bill Needham.
That's what the Streaks offense was missing last week. Him breaking tackles, refusing to go down.
Watch the power, folks, and the speed.
Makes a cut, takes on a tackler, throws him to the ground, breaks another tackle, and takes it to the house.
That, folks, is a quality running back, and we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, you're looking at one of the very best in the state of Ohio, Sandusky Division III, but folks, Terrion Stewart can play any division. Again, BGSU, verbal to go to school there next year as Franklin will come in, try that PAT. So Michael's perfect on the evening, 3 for 3, and here you are with 6:08 remaining first quarter. And the Blue Streaks, they have shocked the Blue Devils. As you get a look at Stewart, he holds up that touchdown belt. Sandusky High School, there's your score, 21-0. Watching Springfield Sandusky on BCSN. Franklin booms it down to about the 1-yard line. Trying to get some running room, and a lot of running room here, and out to the 40-yard line. Good return. That coming by way of Devin Johnson. So he saw that seam in there, and he took full advantage of it. If you're under the weather this year and you don't feel like leaving home, best thing to do is to try Firelands Virtual Care. It's care at your fingertips. Visit firelands.com/virtual care to download the app and get started. Again, that's Firelands Regional Medical Centers here in Sandusky. Thank them for being with us here in the 2019 season as darkness begins to fall here as we're about 20 after 7. We still got, what, Bill, about another 40 minutes of daylight yet, but cloudy skies, temperature at 71 degrees, and not a breath of air here at Strobel Field. Pressure. Nothing going there, but boy, good pressure up the middle being applied by one Philip Hunter.
Hunter's just having a field day on that defensive line, stopping the ball carriers, getting pressure on the quarterback, and, of course, the coverage in the secondary. Noah Caston was all over the receiver.
You mentioned it earlier, Bill. This is a very seasoned and veteran club that the Blue Streaks put on the field. Not a lot of stars on this team from last year. If you look at, accolades in the conference play, that type of thing. Of course, Terrion Stewart, Player of the Year. But, Bill, it's a lot of solid football players on the defensive side.
And the only other SBC mention was Nakai Brown, who was on the second team offense.
As a freshman.
As a freshman, yes.
So the rollout able to get some of that yardage, and that'll bring up a third and a very manageable 4 yards here for the Blue Devils.
But that kind of emphasizes that concept of no stars, but a team. Play together as a team, because this game is about teamwork. It's not about having stars.
And one thing in high school football, folks, seniors can be a very critical component to the success of your team, and I think this senior class is very well balanced, and they bond well together. 3rd and 4.
It's going to be close.
Yeah, looks like they're going to give them the first down. They will. Buchardo picks that up right at the marker, so the first down has been gathered in for Springfield. We'll move the sticks. Ball at the 48 as we're closing in on 5.5 minutes here in this opening quarter. And yeah, that's 21-zip Sandusky.
And that's Springfield's first time across midfield. They're now in Sandusky territory.
This time Thomas will work under center. Try to get some action wide, and look at the pursuit out there. And you talk about getting to a football and getting there in a hurry at 255 pounds. I'm talking London Havens, folks.
Havens outdid the running back. He got out wide, and as the back tried to accelerate, Havens accelerated with him and ran him out of bounds.
So the pursuit for Sandusky's defense, 4-yard loss. I'd say that the Blue Streak coaching staff feeling real good about the way their young men are playing here early.
Absolutely. This defense has been very solid. Really shut down the offense of the Blue Devils in this first quarter.
Sandusky, 6-down lineman, going to put some pressure on the quarterback across the middle. Again, Bill, there was some of that pressure right up the middle. Daisy right that time.
And even though they didn't get to him, the pressure was there and he felt it. Thomas dumped that ball before he was ready or the receiver was ready to haul it in. He just dumped it into the middle of the field.
So now you're facing a 3rd and 14. So the squad from the Northern Lakes League looking at a 3rd and 14 as we're closing in on 5 minutes here. Across the middle. Good defense and knocking it down. There's a young man that thought he should have had it. That was J.J. Henry, just a sophomore. Played that well. J.J. comes in at 190 pounds, but a new face in that secondary, Bill.
You're right. He's one of the replacements in, and pass very similar to that last week in the overtime. He picked off to allow the Blue Streaks to go ahead on their turn and score a touchdown to win that ball game in overtime.
So we'll punt this one away from the 48. High punt, a lot of hang time. Fair catch will be called at the 19. So 34 yards on the punt. But I like that confidence of Desmond Williams going over there for the fair catch.
Yeah, a lot of kids would run away from that and let it bounce because it was so high. You know you're not going to go anywhere with it. You've got to fair catch it, and you got to feel that heat of the defenders coming down to cover it.
That sophomore said no problem because that had a lot of hair under it, Bill.
Absolutely.
So here's Sandusky going to scrimmage from their own 20-yard line, and they have rolled up 3 touchdowns here in this opening quarter. So Chauncey Aaron, he'll run the show out of the quarterback spot. Terrion Stewart in the backfield with him. Aaron on the keeper, 25. Stays on his feet, works forward. Bill, I like the patience he showed on that option. He got out of the corner, then he just kind of let things settle down a little bit and picked up a couple extra yards.
That's the type of play that should work very well for Sandusky going forward. A lot of teams are going to key on Stewart. They're going to send people in his direction. And when Aaron can run that fake and then read that backside defensive end, when he closes, pull that ball away and take it yourself and pick up 7 or 8 yards.
2nd and 2. Stewart working hard. Billy busted inside, and all of a sudden he was able to get out on the corner, and he got the first down. So he was able to drive forward to about the 32. And that was hard running right there by Terrion Stewart.
Well, we know they're not always easy.
No.
There's always not going to be a big hole there. Sometimes you've got to make your way as a powerful running back. You've got to push people out of the way and put your head and shoulders down and run and pick up those additional 2 yards.
You got 5. They moved the chains. They're at the 33. This time Sandusky will put wideouts to the bottom of your screen left. Aaron got a lot of pressure now. And outside the tackle box, but boy, he just able to get rid of that ball.
And it was almost picked off. He threw it to the defensive end, but boy, the pressure just came. I think that was supposed to be a screen.
Jalen Lee was there in a heartbeat.
Some of those offensive linemen looked like they were pulling to the outside, didn't put any hit. You've got to put a 2-second count on 1001, 1002, and then release on your screen. Otherwise, your quarterback's just running for his life back there.
Well, able to save the big loss was Chauncey Aaron, so now they'll go 2nd and 10. Stewart at the 35, cuts up, 40, sideline, 50, down to the 38-yard line. Bill, there's that cut in the acceleration. The few folks haven't seen this young man play before. We had him all last year, and folks, he's special, and you saw it right there on that play.
And I love the little shake and bake he puts on as he gets to the outside, the little dip there, and as he's going to give a little shoulder shrug, get out of my way, and puts the streaks into positive territory.
28 yards on that carry for Terrion Stewart. I think he's feeling better tonight, Bill Needham.
Absolutely. The stat sheet said he only had 5 yards total last week. I don't want to go backwards.
No, you do not. So let's give that Springfield defense a little credit. Is able to make the play was Terrion Carter, a sophomore. So let's see where they mark this ball. But boy, quick to the football that time.
Sometimes the hole's not there, and you have to, like I said, just put your head and shoulders down and bust as far forward as you can. Unless you're blessed with blazing speed, you're not going to be able to back up and run around people.
Now that'll take it back to the 47, and Streaks now looking at a 2nd and 18 as we're closing in on 3 minutes, opening quarter. Low snap. Aaron to the 40, Aaron 30, he's gone. Chauncey Aaron will score the touchdown, standing up for Sandusky as he goes 47 yards. Everybody was keying on you-know-who, Terrion Stewart, and guess what? Read it, kept it, scored from 47, Streaks, score again.
An excellent job of reading that play, seeing the hole, and once he saw that hole, Aaron accelerated. Take another look at it here from ground level. He sees that opening, look at those legs stretch out. Looks to the inside to see if anybody's coming, makes one cut, lose that secondary guy.
It's like he played a little bit off of Vinny D'Amico there, the DB, really didn't know which way to go. So here's Sandusky scoring again. And that time looks like we were wide left on that extra point, but 2:47 remaining as you get one more look at the senior quarterback. Aaron goes in standing up. First quarter, 2:47 remaining. It's all Sandusky here on BCSN. Partner, I didn't expect this. I don't think anybody did coming into this ball game, but boy, this explosion in this first 9 minutes has been impressive by the blue and white.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. This is a Division II ball club with a lot of playoff experience under their belts.
And a team with some good foot speed, but right now Sandusky's having their way on both sides of the ball. Now you mentioned, Bill, they are a Division II school, 452 boys in the top 3 grades. While the Streaks, they are Division III, 338 boys in the top 3 grades. So this is the first time these two schools have gotten together. It's a home-and-home series, so Sandusky next season will be traveling over to the west side of Toledo, to Holland. But right now, team in blue and white is having their way from the 31.
Short one player, then I have to wait till somebody comes in. Make sure he's properly equipped.
Antoine Ellison, late arrival, pressure. Now we got some backside action, and looks like they're going to complete the pass out to about the 38-yard line. Lamar Isaac able to make that catch.
And once that pressure comes from the inside and the quarterback spins, there has to be somebody there for containment. Usually it's your defensive end or your outside linebacker. And the Streaks had lost containment. That allowed the quarterback, Thomas, to get outside and complete that pass.
Well, when you're down 4 scores, this basically changes your whole offensive philosophy for the evening. More pressure, down we go. I'll tell you, London Havens is just way, way too quick for that right tackle. He's just blowing by that young man.
Too quick and too strong. And I looked at this earlier. That right tackle is Carter Pryor. He's 6'4", 270 pounds as a sophomore. So he's a youngster getting baptized here the hard way, having to face one of the best outside linebackers in the state of Ohio.
There's a good look at London right there, and London also on the Blue Streak basketball team. Plays a little tight end on occasion, but right now that young man's got that motor running. So late substitution as we're looking here at a 3rd and 15, and there's a whistle and a timeout going to be offered up for Springfield. That'll be their second timeout. They have 1 remaining here in this opening quarter. Bill, I don't think the young men made that hour and 15-minute drive over here expecting this kind of an onslaught.
Well, you know, it's really a difficult situation for the coach. You didn't have a good performance last week. You got shut out, gave up a lot of points. Even though it was to a good ball club, you still didn't perform well. Coach admitted that in our early pregame interview. So you come here with that little bit of doubt in the back of your mind, and you get on the field and you're hoping that things will change around it. That was the unusual last week, and you're going to be better this week. And then, boom, the whole thing blows up on you.
Yeah, they got blitzed here early in this quarter. As you get a look at the student body for Sandusky High School, and we'd like to tell our students, attention folks, what it takes to be on the BCSN Dewey Furniture Football Student Section of the Week. All you have to do is follow BCSN Erie on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Check out those rules and learn how to enter. That's going to be our football student section of the week, as the guys and gals from Sandusky High are here to support their classmates tonight. Is right now 3rd and 15, and looks like stoppage of action. Offside on the Blue Streak defense, getting a little antsy up front now.
And then the other part of what we were talking about, Ken, before the break was, you know, you can't hit a 28-point bomb to get back into this ball game. You've got to start doing little things well. Find out what your team is capable of doing, and even if it means you're not going to win the game, you have to start getting your team in the frame of mind that we can accomplish things.
Darnell Thomas able to break 1 tackle, but look at the pursuit by the team in blue as they swarm on that quarterback.
There were 6 Blue Streaks in that backfield. Half the team came on the blitz, and there was just no answer from Springfield.
Well, you talk about a man that the word is duress, and he's finding it all over the football field. Dylan Pollard, 205-pound junior, first on the action, but boy, a lot of blue jerseys getting to the QB as it's now 4th down. We're going to have to punt it away with inside of a minute opening quarter. Good snap. This one will roll off the side at about the 44, but take a favorable roll for Springfield, and out of bounds. Looks like they're going to mark this at about the 32, so that's where the Blue Streaks will take over. Most likely last possession of this first quarter. Sandusky got on this thing early here with 10-12 remaining. They were able to strike on a 43-yard touchdown pass to Noah Caston. And that's when the Streaks were facing 3rd and long. But Chauncey Aaron threw that ball up, Bill, and Noah Caston just outleaped the defenders and was able to bring it in for 6, and the gates opened up.
You're right. Great start by the Streaks, and this is their 5th possession in this first quarter. And that's a lot. Normally teams will get about 3 possessions per quarter in high school.
This first quarter has not been normal. Aaron stays on his feet, keeps driving forward. Look at Chauncey Aaron breaking tackles. Strong running by that senior quarterback. Finally going to be knocked out of bounds at the 45-yard line. 185-pound QB showing some strength.
And he knew when to tuck the ball and stop with the effort. And that's smart.
Well, Bill, you mentioned earlier that that Padua game that Sandusky won in overtime. You were there when the Streaks had the ball late down a touchdown, and the discipline that he showed to take the club down the field. You were most impressed with that performance.
Absolutely. You could tell that senior leadership, and you just had the feeling, even though I was sitting on the Padua side, you just had the feeling that Sandusky was going to score. You just knew they were going to get there in those last few seconds. And we have to emphasize a great job of blocking by Terrion Stewart. He wasn't the main man in that last series, but boy, was he a blocker.
And Sandusky won that game in overtime. But folks, we have finished 12 minutes of football here from historic Strobel Field, and the numbers don't lie. The team in blue and white, they lead Springfield 27-0 as you watch high school football here on BCSN. Sandusky Blue Streaks, they'll start the second quarter from their own 45. They're heading south now out to Perkins Avenue. Is going to go quick inside, and there's some good speed to the 40, 35, and down to the 30-yard line goes Xavier Parker, 165-pound senior wideout. Bill, good wheels, big gain for Sandusky.
And that's something the Streaks struggled with last year, finding receivers that could catch the ball and then get additional yardage until Tevin Stewart came back from his injury. But now they've look at that stride. That's a great run after the catch.
So pickup of 27 yards. That puts Sandusky at the 28-yard line. 1st and 10 they go.
And that's called yak, yards after the catch for receivers.
Looking to work hard to the outside. The quarterback of the Sandusky Blue Streaks, Chauncey Aaron. Again, good discipline on that edge and able to scratch out quality yards.
And it looked like the Blue Devils had him stopped 3 different times, but he just kept dodging and weaving.
Watch the run.
Snap was slow. He should have been stopped there in the hole. Gives a stiff arm to the outside containment. And then gets out to the first down marker.
Playing with confidence down to the 16-yard line. Pickup of 16. 1st and 10 Sandusky knocking on the door again here early in quarter number 2. Right at the point of attack, though, I like that block by Terrion Stewart. Sealed things on the edge for him, then let him make the read.
And Coach Franklin emphasized the job that Stewart had done blocking last week. We mentioned it earlier. He's doing it again here tonight. College coaches will drool on that if they know they've got a running back that can block. Number 2, run the ball, block, and then catch the ball.
So that'll bring up a 2nd down and 10. We mentioned that the Northern Lakes League is where Springfield calls home. The other schools in that league, Anthony Wayne, Bowling Green, Maumee, Napoleon, the Sylvania schools, North and South, and Harrisburg. Conference founded back in 1945. Springfield joined up back in the year 1962. So here we go. Kerryon Stewart, burst of speed inside the 10 to 5. Drives down for the first down, so first and goal Sandusky. He's able to pick up 12 yards inside the tackles. And again, Bill, good drive for that young man inside.
The influence
Look
of
at the cut.
the outside game had the Blue Devils defensive end sprinting to the outside, and that opened up the middle for Stewart to carry it down to the 5-yard line. Picked up about 11 yards on that carry.
But again, with that ankle issue that he's had for the last 3 or 4 weeks, I like the way he made that cut. He planted hard and got up inside. First and goal, Sandusky. Stewart, touchdown. Kerryon Stewart getting in behind that big offensive line. We're talking about right mid-hour. Jeremiah Johnson, Dylan Pollard, he scores 6, and the Blue Streaks have blown this one open as there's a good look at that 205-pound first-team All-Ohio running back. One Kerryon Stewart holds all the rushing records at Sandusky High School, folks.
Watch the hit at the end of the play. He gets into the end zone, and the D-back comes up to hit him and gets bounced backwards. That's power.
Now, Rayshawn Green got introduced to that young man in the end zone, did he not? Well, Franklin this time is going to split the uprights. So with 10:47 remaining, this one has gotten out of control early as Stewart scores touchdown for Sandusky. And those are your numbers here in the second quarter. Freaks against Springfield on BCSN.
Think your school has the most spirit? If you do, and it's true, prove it. Send us pics or video of your hype football student section on Twitter and tag us using hashtag BCSNE. Get creative and show your spirit. Weekly winners will be presented with cool shades thanks to Dewey Furniture. On November 8th, one lucky school with the most energy, creativity, submissions, and school spirit will be crowned season winner and be presented with the Dewey Furniture Football Student Section of the Season Championship belt. Follow BCSN Erie on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for rules and how to enter. Let the games begin.
Having a lot of fun at Strobel Field are the students from Sandusky High School as they have watched their classmates roll out to a 34-0 lead here early in this second quarter. And we'd like to thank our good friends from Matthews Ford in Sandusky for being with us here on 2019 football. When you make it Matthews, we can make it happen. So stop by for a test drive today. That's Matthews Ford in Sandusky. What do we got here, Bill? Looks like, what, Hawaiian night? Got the garb on with the lays?
Hawaiian beach night.
I like it. I like it.
For the Blue Streak student section. So that ought to get us some good pictures and videos.
Absolutely.
Submitted to our student section of the week competition.
So what will Springfield do here down by this amount? So the Blue Devils really in a hole, trying to get something going on the offensive side of the ball. Nothing doing. Quick in the backfield is Rayshawn Redding.
That was a nice play, a nice hole for the running back. Nobody got to the linebacker level. Linebackers came off free and made the stop for, well, actually loss of a yard, almost a yard.
Well, Rayshawn Redding, again, one of those experienced seniors, one of these stalwarts in that Blue Streak secondary last year. And Sandusky Blue Streaks, folks, they did go to the regional finals where they lost to the Norwalk Truckers Division III in a hard-hitting football game that we had here on BCSN. Norwalk came away winning that contest. So we'll keep it on the ground, try to establish some type of running game, and maybe out to about the 25-yard line goes Joshua Presley. So Presley able to eke out a few yards to the 25, so we'll look now at a 3rd and 5. Bill, you're down 34. You still have to establish something on the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. Go back to the drawing board and start all over again. Look at your scripted plays. What did you intend to do coming into the game? go back to that and start all over again and realize that you're probably not going to win this game at 34-0 unless you can break some long ones off. But you have to go back and do something that you intended to do that you're good at to get back into this game.
Week 2 of the season, you try to establish an identity with your athletes. Here's some more pressure. Thomas under duress, and he'll throw that out of bounds high, but man, the Sandusky defense is all over that young Daisy on right, putting a lot of heat on that QB, so 4th down at the 25 punting situation. But again, folks, remember, this is week 2 of the season. A lot of football yet to be played and a lot of development among some of your younger players. And again, establish your identity. And like any other school, you play in a league, and that's when you really want to be ready to go when you get into conference play.
Well, I said in the open that this is the week that teams make the most improvement. This is their week that they saw what they had, what they needed to get better at, and they went and practiced it all week. So usually there's good performances by teams at this particular week.
At the 40-yard line. So a little indifference right there. Going up for the fair catch, but Desmond Williams maybe have lost it in the lights because he was there, then all of a sudden he just ducked.
Yeah, kind of like a center fielder. He kind of overran the play, got in too deep, and it was over his head. And he figured best idea is not to go.
That's smart football.
And make the attempt because you could get yourself in trouble.
That was, good heads-up play. Like you just said, Bill, might have been over his head, and instead of trying to make a circus catch, tell you what, we'll get the football at our own 20 and we'll scrimmage from there. So many times, folks, you underestimate the cerebral part of sports. The gray matter between the ears can be very, very effective for an athlete and a team. Aaron cuts outside. Sideline at the 40. Knocked out of bounds. Whatever this team in blue wants to run, Bill Needham, they're running it, partner.
Yeah, that looked like a quarterback off tackle play. We called it up the river as he comes in behind the running backs. But you see here on the replay, the snap was low. That kind of upset things. But again, a good block by the running back in front of him. Once he gets through that hole, he stiff arms and carries it down the field. Picks up that 1st down in Springfield territory.
Give him 33 yards on the carry as they're across midfield here now with 8:45 to go till half. Stewart, oh, what a cut. Terrion Stewart wants to get to the edge. Terrion Stewart at the 40. Terrion Stewart carrying tacklers inside the 25 down to the 23. He's looking like the young man that we watched last season in his junior year, Bill.
Yeah, he's running with more confidence in his own ability.
I like this right here, the stop.
Yeah, cut back to the middle and then back to the outside. Switch the ball into his outside hand, and he's got a stiff arm available to get 25 out of the way.
Just dragged a couple of tacklers down to about the 23-yard line as you get a look at Terrion. A little gimp in that giddy-up right there.
Nakari Johnson, a junior, 5'9", 155.
24 yards for Stewart as he's on the sideline right now.
Give him a little break, let him catch his breath.
Aaron, a lot of time, steps up. Aaron to the edge. Good fake, good hesitation at the 5. Gonna score? Yes, he does. Touchdown, Chauncey Aaron. What a quality run by that quarterback, folks. He gave a couple of guys a look at him, and he was able to break tackles, but boy, great presence and poise when he got up past the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I just can't say enough
Watch
about
again.
The attitude of the Blue Streaks. Nobody's going to stop them as he comes right at you, folks. Here comes the freight train. Little dipsy doodle to the inside, breaks to the out, and there's the punishment and the dive for the pylon.
He took the hit, and he was able to keep on his feet as Rayshawn Green had contact at the 2, but in to score, and touchdown Sandusky as the floodwaters of Erie County and Sandusky Bay have just inundated Springfield. Bill, I don't know what to say, buddy, except that it's 41-zip Sandusky as you're going to get one more look here at the quarterback, Aaron, as he goes in for that score, and there's your numbers on the board as Sandusky continues to pile it on.
80 yards in 4 plays.
Get
Not
to
bad.
that. 41-0 Sandusky on BCSN.
Thank you.
If he changes his mind, we'll let you know.
Well, a busy man for Sandusky here this evening has been Michael Franklin. As the young man has been on the field, booming kicks again inside the 3, and that's going to go to the end zone for a touchback. I tell you, for a sophomore, young man's got a strong leg.
Yes, and you can put it in the end zone. That's a big weapon for a team, that the opponent always has to travel 80 yards to get a score. That's an important weapon for a kicking team. But he's kicked 6 extra points, 6 kickoffs. He's going to be a tired young man.
He's had 1 punt tonight, I believe. I think Sandusky punted once, did they not? I think he's had 1 punt, if memory serves me correct, back in that first quarter. Or am I mistaken?
They turned the ball over on downs.
Okay, maybe he hasn't, but I know one
I don't
thing.
have a punt listed here.
There's a quick out, and there's the Blue Streak defense. Little over pursuit, though, on the backside. So down the sideline we go. Wrapped up at about the 41. And there's a late flag coming in. More than likely, they're going to call face mask over there. That time, over pursuit hurt the blue and white of Sandusky. There's the flag.
Sometimes when things are going your way, you get a little over aggressive and you forget to stay in your assignment lanes, and then you start chasing.
I think that was an example right there. So from the 20-yard line, they're going to mark this ball all the way down now inside the 45.
He didn't say face mask, it's called personal foul.
Okay, well, let's get another look at this.
See, the backside people, the backside defensive end or outside linebacker should have been as deep as the ball, so that if it does reverse, it kind of looked like a horse collar tackle, but I'm not even sure that was correct.
That was Devin Johnson picking up the big yardage. That time, Devin Johnson gets introduced to a lot of blue streaks.
But anyhow, the defense now got into an over-aggressive pursuit mode, and they forgot to cover the backside, and that guy reversed his field. There was nobody at home.
I stand corrected. That was Josiah Presley, senior running back. Gets wrapped up for a 3-yard loss. So we're closing in on 7 minutes here, and Springfield have the ball at the 43. 2nd and 13. We're going to go up top. More pressure up the middle. Up top. Right there defensively was Noah Caston.
And Caston just did 2 push-ups as he finished it off, just for fun.
Boy, you talk about glue on a wide receiver. He was right there in his jersey.
Yeah, I liked the kid last year, the way he played defense and his aggressiveness, and now he's a senior that knows what he's doing back there. He's seen everything through his season last year and through the playoffs. He knows what to do in the secondary.
And never underestimate confidence if you're an athlete. You play with confidence and you know your abilities, and we're seeing a good one here, Noah Caston. 3rd and 13. Thomas throwing, got a man. Wrapped up there at the 23-yard line, so first down. He was able to hook up with his wide receiver, that being Ty Gudiardo. So he had time on that play. Good ball. So here's Springfield. Scoring opportunity now is inside of 7 minutes. So the Blue Devils on the move. Rolls away from pressure, crosses body, got a man, but out of bounds. Yeah, you get a sense now this quarterback, Darnell Thomas, is recognizing pressure up the middle, and he's trying to work the sidelines.
But early in that first quarter, when he got pressure up the middle and he spun to the outside, there was a blue streak there waiting for him. This time there wasn't, as the streaks dropped back into coverage. It made it difficult for Springfield to complete a pass.
Blue Devils, they started this possession at their own 20. They're now at the Sandusky 24.
By far the best drive for Springfield.
Got the edge, got some running room. Ooh, stand-up tackle there at the 20-yard line. Able to make the hit for the Blue Streaks was J.J. Henry, 190-pound sophomore. Good solid form tackle by that sophomore. That'll bring up a third in about 4. What's your call, partner? 3rd and 4?
I would still keep the ball in the hands of the quarterback, whether he's going to try to throw the ball or maybe make it look like a pass, quarterback draw type situation, quarterback rollout, because he has been their most effective player so far.
So they'll empty the backfield here on 3rd and 4. Slant pass going to be knocked down. Good pressure up the middle. Not sure who got a hand on it. It may have been Rashawn Reddy. He was blitzing in from that secondary position. So here we come with a 4th down.
And you've got to go for it.
Oh, for sure.
Field goal doesn't do you any good here. It's what kind of offensive momentum can you create for your team. And again, keep the ball in the hands of the quarterback. Thomas is their man.
4th and 4. Darnell Thomas, pressure up the middle again.
Streak showed blitz and they got through.
He's got the corner though at the 15 to the 10 and knocked out of bounds, so he'll pick up the 1st down. Here comes a flag way in the backfield from about the 35-yard line.
That's going to be a blind side block on Springfield.
That official in the white hat, he threw that flag from about the 35. And he threw it about good 20-plus yards, Bill. Good arm. Let's see what we've got here.
For those of you that don't know, that's Greg Bartimas and his crew that are officiating the game today. Smoke Majoy on the sideline. Some guys I've known for a few years.
I'm trying to say these are wily veterans.
Yes, sir.
Well, here's your personal foul. I think that's the call, Bill.
That's the call. A blindside block.
And that's one thing in football today they're very cognizant of. Let's see if we can get a look at this block from the backside.
This is something we used to relish back in the old days, but he can't see the blocker coming right there on Havens.
Yeah, I guess you could say that term unprotected defender. He never saw it coming. So good call. Yeah, our BCSN guys were right down there too.
We used to call that decleating your opponent, knock him right out of his shoes.
But you said it used to be a legal hit in football.
Not anymore. You can't blindside people.
Just like the old cross body block. I'm going way back. The cross body block. Young guys are saying, what are they talking about? Well, ask your grandpa about a cross body block. Here you go, folks. 4th and long. Up top. Slant pattern. Oh, look at that. Oh, they're going to call a flag.
Call that.
Oh, Noah Cast in great position, but he might have got the off arm on his back. But I'll tell you, folks, that was textbook defense. Textbook defense by number 15, but the backside official is going to call pass interference. So that's going to move the sticks and give.
It looked like he had awesome position. You can have that back hand on the body as long as you don't use it to pull the receiver. And let's take a look at it. The ball's in the air. He won't catch it. I mean, he moved inside, used the proper arm, and knocked the ball away. But unfortunately, that's called interference.
I'm sure when they look at that on tape, Coach Franklin will feel good about his DB making that play as timeout has been called.
That's their last timeout for Springfield.
Well, they'll have the ball with 5:40 remaining and trying to get in the end zone here late in the second quarter.
Now the good thing here is the DPI is not a spot foul like it is in the pros.
Right.
So that ball would have been at the 1 yard line since it was in the end zone. It was a 15-yard penalty from the previous line of scrimmage, which sets up still a 4th down because of that blindside block.
You mentioned Springfield plays in the Northern Lakes League. They've been to the last couple of years. They've been to the state tournament, been there 5 times. They were there back in 2018. They went 7-4. They lost to Avon 49-14. They were there in 2016, had an undefeated season. They lost in overtime to Westlake 48-41, and then 9-1 was their record in the regular season. They're conference champs in 16, but they lost to Glenville, a real powerhouse, lost 56-28 in that playoff game.
I was kind of looking at those playoff appearances for these two teams. They've both been in the playoffs 3 out of the 4 years. They both had 10-1 seasons where they lost the first round of the playoffs, and they both had the year they didn't make the playoffs, they both went 6-4. So they were almost mirroring each other as they went along, but the Streaks do have 1 playoff win. They have 2, as a matter of fact.
So that is a 4th down, because they did not get enough yardage. And here they're going to go quarterback, going to go with reverse, looking for somebody open downfield. But now we got some running room, and looks like the first down is going to be gathered in.
So we had an end around reverse pass that was kept because the receiver didn't get open.
He did not.
But nice job by number 9.
Dylan Ford.
Ford to do a little dipsy-doodling to pick up that first down.
Yeah, he was able to fake out a very good defender in Xavier Parker. Kind of bit on that inside move. So the first down is gathered in, and Springfield will keep the football. Mark it at the 13. I'm sure this team from Holland, Ohio would love nothing better than to get on the board here late in the second quarter, as we've got Sandusky with a quick timeout.
You're right. Coach Gucciardo wants nothing more than his team to put points on the board, to go into the locker room with something positive to talk about.
Talking about playoff appearances, the Sandusky Blue Streaks, now Mike Franklin in season number 14. They are 76-64 under his direction, but 3 years in a row they've made the playoffs, have the Blue Streaks. In the state playoffs 12 times. In fact, made it to the semis 3 times in this school's history. Boy, you talk about long, long road of football, Bill. They have 692 wins.
Wow.
In their career. They are ranked number 10 in the state of Ohio in wins. But then again, you go overall wins. Let's talk about Massillon, Kent, McKinley. The Tigers, 885 victories. McKinley, 837.
Wow, that's a huge number.
Big time. But boy, you get to that magic 700. That's a heck of an accomplishment for sure. But a lot of football here at Sandusky High School, now celebrating 125 years. And you do the math. That's a lot of wins every year, though, over that period of time.
It is. That's to talk about the longevity of the school and the number of games that they've been able to win, and understand that there are a lot of schools that have been created just recently, and they're just starting out in their trek.
Yeah.
And they only have a couple under their belts.
Here we go. Pressure up the middle, and that'll skip in low. So at the goal line, trying to squeeze that ball into the end zone, but come away empty.
Plenty of time left for Springfield. They might want to try to run the ball and not make every down a throwing down.
Second and 10. As Coach Pat Gucciardo will make that call.
They're staying with the spread formations. 3 receivers to the left.
Middle pressure again, going to go screen pass. This has some running room to the 5-yard line, down to about the 3. Well-designed play by Springfield. So that'll get them the first down, and they'll drop the change, and it'll be first and goal at the 2.
And that screen is just as effective as a running play. They used Sandusky's over-aggressiveness against themselves as the Blue Devils dumped that one off to their running back and picked up that first down.
So on the doorstep, opportunity to get on the board here. Blue Devils looking to score here late in this second quarter. Running play, touchdown. So in the end zone, looked like Ty Gucciardo scores. So the touchdown has been scored, and they're on the board. That is number 6, not number 8. Number 6 going to be Joshua Presley. So one more look at Joshua as he goes in standing up, and he puts the team from Springfield on the scoreboard with 4:21 remaining. They go 80 yards in that drive.
And a lot of plays.
A lot of plays. Kind of lost track there, partner.
When you throw those penalties, so did I. Threw the penalties in, back and forth. Snap is botched.
And down we go. Yeah, there's not much hope when you lose that snap, and Tyler Kelly was smothered. So they're on the board, though, at 4:21 remaining. The Blue Devils of Springfield trail 41-6 with high school football here on BCSN. So kickoff coming, and looks like that ball is going to go down in the corner. Fielded at about the 1-yard line, and now we're going to have a race to the other sideline. Working to the corner is Noah Caston, and he's going to go out at 20. Bill, he took that ball at about the half-yard line. It wasn't going to go out of bounds either, and hey, I'll tell you, talk about having some moxie and some confidence.
If he had to realize that all his blockers were on this side of the field. They had a nice wall set out here. Here it goes into the corner. He tiptoes it. Boy, that's pretty close to stepping on the white.
The official was standing right next to him.
The official was right there. He was tight.
But there's pressure at the 5-yard line, and then good speed. He's able to get it out to the 20.
He thought he had it, but he turned and saw nothing but white jerseys in front of him, because all the blue guys were over here.
So let's see what Sandusky does here with 4:12 remaining in this second quarter. As you get a look at Rashawn Redding coming off the field and going to be replaced by Vinny D'Amico, another senior. So Desmond Williams, sophomore tailback, is now in the ball game as Terrion Stewart is on the sidelines. Terrion has 117 yards and 7 carries here in this first quarter as Aaron continues to chew up yardage. Now it's a foot race, folks, at the 50, at the 40. Is there an angle? There is no angle, and he is going to score. Touchdown, Sandusky. He gave him the touchdown. 80 yards. Aaron, Bill, the blocking, but the foot speed over the 80 yards, impressive.
Right, they just opened up that hole, that read again, as he looked at the defensive end, and he saw that thing open up, and he just outran everybody. Saw the end closed, took it, nice block there on the outside.
Now it's a foot race, and who can get to the corner, and you can see the gas tank starting to run empty, but sprinting all the way, and in the end zone for sure.
Tackler carried it in.
80 yards goes that quarterback for the blue and white, Chauncey Aaron, and Sandusky answers one play, and extra point forthcoming, and that'll be good. So chalk up another PAT for Michael Franklin, and the board reads 48-6, as there's a good look at Sandusky's senior quarterback, as he'll let you know his team's on top now. 48-6 with high school football on BCSN.
Think your school has the most spirit? If you do, and it's true, prove it. Send us pics or video of your hype football student section on Twitter and tag us using hashtag BCSNE. Get creative and show your spirit. Weekly winners will be presented with cool shades thanks to Dewey Furniture. On November 8th, one lucky school with the most energy, creativity, submissions, and school spirit will be crowned season winner and be presented with the Dewey Furniture Football Student Section of the Season Championship belt. Follow BCSN Erie on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for rules and how to enter. Let the games begin.
One of the busiest guys at Strobel Field is Michael Franklin, as he kicks off once again, and Springfield has it out to the 35-yard line. And you know, this fall, high school football here in our area, one of the nice things we're doing here on BCSN is getting our student sections involved and find out what it takes to be the BCSN Dewey Furniture Football Student Section of the Week. It's really easy. Just follow us on BCSN Erie. You can do that on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Find out what those rules are and how to enter. So our student sections throughout our area, get involved. Find out how you can follow your team and have some fun cheering your ball club on to victory. And no doubt the students from Hayes Avenue know they've got a victory here tonight, as their team leads by 42. As we'll have a little quarterback scramble. And it's been one of those nights, partner Bill Needham, for our friends from Springfield, and their quarterback, Darnell Thomas. He's been under duress most of the evening.
Well, they had a good series last time. They took the ball down, went 80 yards, scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
That's got to be something positive. And they'd want to do that again. Coach Luchardo would love to see his team progress, get better as we go along here, keep control of the ball here for the last 3 minutes, and see if you can put some more points on the board.
Looking up top, got a receiver. That time trying to sneak in for the interception, and that did not pay dividends. J.J. Henry trying to step in front, and he paid the price. Was able to come down with that ball. Dylan Ford.
And now here's the difference, and I don't mean anything to the young man. We always taught reach with your inside hand, which would be his left hand here. Right hand goes to the body. That's the normal technique. That's why I said Caston did the right thing when he got called for that interference. He made the right play. Went with his inside hand, right hand on the body. That time, Henry went in with his outside hand, and there's nothing left when that receiver catches the ball. You can't get there.
That will be a teaching moment during film session.
Oh, well, absolutely.
Looking up top, strong arm. Boy, you talk about going up and playing some defense, folks. Noah Caston was up the elevator on that one.
He's probably upset with himself that he didn't pull that in, that didn't get the INT.
I get that sense that he's upset. Watch it again, folks. Noah Caston can really elevate.
Well thrown ball, dropping in, and look how high he is. It was in his hands. He said, I wanted it.
So that'll bring up a second down at the 28. Call it 10 as 2:29 still to be played out here in this first half.
Again, still plenty of time. You can mix in a run or two to keep the defense honest, because that defensive line just pinning their ears back and coming after the quarterback.
Saw pressure on the edge, and Darnell Thomas went up the middle, but the linebackers were there to hold him to a gain of 1.
And now here's another thing that you think about as a coach. Why not treat this as your 2-minute drill? Get up there, get called 2 plays, have a signal of what your next play is going to be. Get up there and conserve as much time as you can.
Springfield is out of timeouts. They face a 3rd and 9. Thomas, quick out. So we'll go 4th down here.
Be careful there. That's almost an unnecessary hit on the defenseless receiver in the secondary.
Again, the play in the secondary of Sandusky has been very aggressive, and they have challenged these receivers for Springfield. So you're at 4th and 9. I would tend to think they're going to load up. In fact, they will. They'll go to the right side. They'll put wideouts 3. Single back with the quarterback, Darnell Thomas.
Watch that tight end on the left side. Stayed in the block.
A lot of pressure up the middle. Down we go. It's been there just about all night, Bill Needham, as Dazion Wright raises his hands. And Dazion has been tough here with that defensive line. Quick 205-pounder.
Yeah, you're right. The defensive line for the Blue Streaks have owned the line of scrimmage. They come with lots of pressure, pushing the blockers out of the way, that hand fighting that those Springfield guys have got to learn, how to fight with their hands to stay in good position.
The linebacking core of Sandusky is very, very active. You start talking Vinny D'Amico in there, as well as Dazion Wright, and then you throw London Havens in. That's a handful. So here's Sandusky taking over with 1.5 minutes to go, and new quarterback in the ball game. This will be Michael Franklin as he'll hand it off. And good solid yardage being gained by that sophomore Desmond Williams. And Mike Franklin and the Streaks coaching staff is very high on this young man. They say he's got some talent. I'll tell you one thing, he's also got some quick feet too. He's able to crack out across midfield. Set the ball at the 45 now with 1 minute and 15 remaining.
A good job by Coach Franklin to get some of his younger kids into the ball game here.
For sure.
In the first half, they're in there Friday night under the lights for some of them probably their first experience.
Everybody showers tonight for Sandusky.
Big hole.
We'll go Williams again. He'll chew up big yard. He stays on his feet, showing you good power in those legs. He drives down to the 30-yard line.
That young man's a sophomore.
Yes, sir.
5'10", 165. And he looks just as powerful as Stewart.
And I'll tell you, you're getting your reps behind Terrion Stewart. That is a good football player to follow in. I'm sure Terrion has a chance to chat with him on occasion on how to be a good tailback. So clock running inside of 40 seconds.
Something about success breeds success.
Doesn't it though? Doesn't it though? So Sandusky will run this down inside of 5 seconds. And we'll go one more time, Williams. Nice cut. So chewing up big yardage down to the 20, as that will be the final play of this first half. As the play clock is off.
Young man got himself in the stat book. Great performance here in the last few seconds of this first half.
So that's going to do it, as both teams now will head to the clubhouse. And oh my, folks, what a performance here tonight by Sandusky in their home opener, as they have lit up the scoreboard right from the beginning of this ball game, and those numbers do not lie. So 24 minutes of football have been played here at historic Strobel Field, Cedar Point Stadium, and you find the team in the blue and white, that being the Streaks of Sandusky. They are on top 48-6 as it's halftime here on BCSN. We've reached the halfway point of tonight's ball game, and it's time for halftime activities as the Blue Devil Marching Band from Springfield High School is on the field.
When it comes to getting sick, your body doesn't always wait for business hours. Introducing Firelands Virtual Care. When you're not feeling your best, Virtual Care allows you to speak online with a medical professional right away, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And yes, at any time of the day or night. No appointment necessary. To get started, visit firelands.com/virtualcare to download our app. Care is just a click away.
Halftime continues here, Cedar Point Stadium at Strobel Field, as the marching band of the Sandusky Blue Streaks are on the field.
but the barbecue in question is beautiful girls. Tonight, we feature Dixieland ensemble of our own on Struck with the Barbecue.
And halftime festivities have wrapped up here at Strobel Field in Sandusky. If you're just joining us, those numbers do not lie, folks. That's what it's been here in the first half, all blue and white. As they came out early and often to take care of business here. And we're going to start it off with Springfield's only touchdown as they went 80 yards and were able to get that score as Joshua Presley got on the board. But oh my, Bill Needham, this team in the blue and white got busy real early as a 43-yard touchdown pass to Noah Caston put the Streaks on the board 2 minutes into the game. And then here comes that wonderful interception by Noah Caston, 32 yards, and all of a sudden it was 14-0, not even 4 minutes into the game.
And that kind of turned the tide for this ball game.
And that's the one we liked.
To get the outstanding running of Terrion Stewart added in.
41 yards he went, folks, and made it 21-zip. And then Chauncey Aaron, my, what a first half that senior quarterback has had, Bill, as he was able to score for the Blue Streaks, going 47 yards. And they just continued to run and do it all. Terrion Stewart
pulled his way into the end zone.
That made it 34-0, and now we're going to go up top one time here, and we're going to get that ball. No, we're not. We're going to run that football, partner. And again, Chauncey Aaron. What a wonderful effort there for the young man as he's able to score from yards, and there's your stats, folks. Bill, you go ahead. Here are yours.
393 rushing yards to -9, and that pretty much tells you the whole thing of this ballgame. Turnovers don't matter. Time of possession doesn't matter. It's just that the Streaks have been able to run the ball effectively and put it in the end zone, and Springfield has not been able to do that so far. Running clock, second half.
And the thing that, this being my first look at Sandusky, you saw him last week against Padua. Team speed's exceptional, and there's some interesting numbers there when you look at the fellas on this ball club. Aaron, 242 yards. I think they forgot about him, and they thought Stewart's the guy to stop. Quite the contrary.
Well, it's a two-edged sword.
Yes, it is.
It's a double-headed dragon. I mean, who do you want to pick to be the guy you can stop? You can't stop everybody, but maybe you could stop Stewart, and then that allows Aaron to run free. Or the defense comes through. 5 sacks out of 2 players.
Big time, and they've had pressure all night long on that quarterback for Springfield, that being one Darnell Thomas. But teams are back on the field. We have a running clock, second half. Step away. Get ready for the third quarter here on BCSN. Well, Springfield will receive the football, and when you're looking at a score like this, Bill Needham, coaches have some decisions to make. First on that Springfield side, Coach Guicciardo, is he going to play a lot of the underclassmen, or is he going to bring that first team group out again?
I believe he'd go with the first crew through at least this quarter and allow his seconds to have that fourth quarter to themselves. But he's got to start to find something positive for the Blue Devils in this ball game. So I think he'll stay with his number ones at this point. I don't know what Sandusky's going to do. My philosophy is you start your ones in the third quarter for the first series and let them play through that one series, and then they'll be done for the night. You can use all your other kids to finish out the third and fourth quarter.
Well, they'll wind the clock and get this third quarter going, and we'll see how the coaches set this thing up in this third quarter. Indications are you are still seeing a lot of the frontline players for Sandusky. And, you know, on the flip side, Bill, you got to think about that conditioning factor too with your athletes. You want to make sure that these guys are getting good work in, staying disciplined, but more importantly, working on that conditioning here in week 2.
That was Rashawn Redding on that stop on the sprint to the outside. And you're right. I mean, the kids have worked hard all summer to get in shape through the two-a-days. And, you know, they've already played one ball game. They've played the first half here. They know what it's like. And, you know, you want to give them their reps. You want them to get some practice on the field. And it's difficult to get game situations on your weekday practices. So
And
go ahead and let them play.
so we'll go screen pass. That'll go incomplete. But we mentioned right here at the start of the second half, the clock does not stop. And I will look at this third quarter and fourth quarter begin to evolve. I'm sure you're going to see a lot of sprinkling of your underclassmen there and giving other young men an opportunity, because there is a junior varsity game that they play on Saturdays.
Correct.
So those young men will play as well.
But it's still not Friday Night Lights.
Oh, no, there's just something special about that.
You want to give the kids that reward. We've talked about this running clock situation before, Ken. This is the thing I don't like about it, is that it eats up the opportunity for these kids to get in on some plays on Friday night.
So third and about 12. Short pass underneath. And that'll bring up a fourth down as Darnell Thomas remained at that quarterback position.
Dylan Ford was the receiver. Senior, 5'11", 175 for Springfield.
And indications are fourth and about 4. Looks like Springfield will go ahead and go for this.
That's a tough call.
Yeah.
You don't make it, you're going to turn the ball over in your own territory.
Pat Guicciardo says, let's play offense.
Maybe they're
here.
just going to try to drive them draw them off.
Quarterback will keep, and he'll get the first down, a little more as he's across the 50 to about the 46. So positive yards for Darnell Thomas, transferred in from Toledo Scott last year.
And that's what Coach wanted. Let the young man use his athletic skills to pick up that first down for Springfield. Keep that drive alive and keep the ball in their hands.
Well, around the state of Ohio, you've got 717 high schools playing football here in the Buckeye State, and a lot of folks playing football all over Ohio this week and playing that ball extremely well, just like a center fielder. As Noah Caston had that all the way, didn't he not?
Yeah, it looked like he had a good position for the interception, so a good job by the receiver. I think that's number 10.
Is that Devin Johnson?
Devin Johnson, who comes back and fights for the ball and knocks it out of Caston's hand. Caston's got to be saying, I should have 3 picks in this game already.
He's right there. Again, this is a Division II school, that being Springfield, and your defending state champion in Division II is Akron-Hoban. They won their 4th in a row, Bill, last year. They ran the table going 15-0 as they knocked off Massillon 42-28. So Akron-Hoban, a real powerhouse partner. They were ranked number 1 throughout the whole season, and they come away running the table in Division I, while the
Pretty
Blue
good
Streaks,
for a Division IV school.
But we talked about that before. You know, we're talking about the.
I'm gonna beat that dead
I know
horse.
you are. Yeah, my Needham just loves to talk about that power on competitive balance. But Sandusky, they're a Division III, and it was running the table. Ranked number 4 in the season was Kenston, winning their first state championship 15-0, as they knocked off Kettering Alder, and they did it in a big way at 42-6 to win that state title. Sideline pass and completion down to about the 18-yard line. Able to find Ty Guicciardo on that play. That will be the coach's son, if I'm correct.
Senior, 6'1", 160.
Able to catch that ball and get it down to about the 17-yard line as we're on 6.5, coming up at 6.5 minutes here in this third quarter with this running clock.
Excellent drive put together by the Blue Devils. They're knocking on the door.
Time to throw. That ball will skip incomplete.
You know, one of the things a coach would fear in this situation is you lose your mental edge because of the number of points scored in that first half, and then you get the break, and then you come out the third quarter, you know you're probably going to play one series, and then you kind of lose it mentally. You don't have that same fire that you had at the beginning of the ball game.
Sure.
I look now and see the Springfield offensive line doing a good job protecting their quarterback. They're not getting that big pressure.
And Sandusky appears to have most of their frontliners in there right now. Jeremiah Johnson remains in there at down tackle, along with Dazion Wright. Some pressure up the middle. So a lot of pressure. Good foot speed. There's some of that athletic skills that Darnell Thomas possesses. It's going to be close to the first down. They're going to spot him right at about the 10-yard line as he was able to outrun the pursuit.
Like Kyler Murray, run away from those big linemen.
Now the 5-minute mark coming up as Kenyon McCarty, a junior, will roll in for the Blue Streaks as he replaces Carry-On Keys. So if you just joined us, it was all Sandusky right out of the gate. They put this game away early in that first quarter. So plenty of time to throw, quick out. Showing quality effort, driving forward, and going to mark him right about the 1-yard line. But boy, you have to like the effort of Jonathan Hale, big 230-pound tight end. Another look at this, Bill.
Just good pass. Again, the D back. Oh, the ball was fumbled.
But apparently he called the knee down at the 1-yard line. So here are the Knights looking to get in the end zone. Excuse me, the Blue Devils looking to get in the end zone. Under center.
Quarterback sneak.
Straight out of the eye and a
Power
touchdown.
out.
Yes, sir. So we'll celebrate a little bit, that being Josiah Presley, as he scores for Springfield, and a little enthusiasm on that far sideline.
Well, that's something you need. You need to get that team fired up and realize that we're playing the Blue Streaks here, and we just scored. So, yeah, you got to have some of that. They ate up almost 8 minutes on the clock.
So point after coming. Good snap. And we'll go through the uprights. That coming by way of Tyler Kelly. So with that PAT, get another look. Touchdown coming right up the middle out of that I formation goes Josiah Presley, and Springfield on the board. 48-13. We'll take a break. Back with more from Strobel Field after this. Take the kickoff and roll it out to about the 22-yard line, and that's where the blue and white will scrimmage. First possession, as I'd like to thank the Sandusky Mall for being with us. The Sandusky Mall, where you can experience it all. So here we are, third quarter, first possession for Sandusky. Now in his 14th year, Mike Frankel, the head coach of the blue and white. Let's see what he does with this offensive unit. See who he rolls out there. Looks like he's still got pretty much that first group out there, doesn't he?
Mittauer's out there. Pollard's still out there.
Right. Yeah, Philip Hunter still up there as well.
I saw Caston limp off. Looked like he might have had a little bit of a hamstring issue. At this point, sit him down. He's done for the night. Should be.
Get that clock rolling over there. A couple of tough yards. Still running that quarterback position is Chauncey Aaron, who had an outstanding first half, over 200 yards rushing for that senior. But continuing along, we mentioned last year's state champions. You go to that Division I, and boy, have they been a powerhouse the last few years. Last 5 years, they've won 3 state titles, that being Lakewood St. Ed. They knocked off the number 1 team in the state, Cincinnati Coleraine, beating them 24-10. Already talked about Hoban in Division II, Kenston in Division III. Aaron will run the keeper to the 30, working behind his blockers nicely. Great patience, out across the 40, tackled about 3 yards out of bounds. Play on. Division IV, very quickly, out of Wyoming, the Cowboys of Cincinnati. They ran the table, Bill. They were number 1 throughout the entire year. They ended up 15-0 as they pummeled Girard 42-14 to win that Division IV title. And the folks where they make jam, Smucker's Jam, that's made where?
Orville.
You got it, brother. They're state champions, man, winning the second time, 13-2 overall on the season, 49-34, beating one of those really good programs, Johnstown Monroe. And we moved down to the smaller schools, and we got a 15-yard penalty, so we made the call up here. Personal foul, Division VI. That was Kirkland. Last 8 years, Kirkland's been to the Final Four 7 times and have won it 4. They go 15-0. And they beat their old nemesis, that's being Marion local, Maria Stein, huh? Those guys are always in the state championship,
yes.
Bill. In fact, you go back 2015, 2017, and 18, those guys battled it out. Then Maria Stein won 2 of them, and those guys won 2. So that's pretty equal power right there. And the small schools, and we're talking the schools with, what, maybe 40, 50 guys in the high school? Yeah. Macomb goes 14-1 as they beat Gloucester Trimble 28-3. Not to belabor our small schools, though, but we always like to talk about the Midwest Athletic Conference in high school sports. That's where Marion Local, Coldwater, etc. Last year, Bill, was the first time since 2003 that a Midwest Athletic Conference team did not win a state championship.
Did not. And
think about that.
And they've had some years where they had 3 different divisions.
Yep, 5, 6,
where they
and
won
7
state championships.
Yeah, because again, they have schools Division 5, Division 6, and 7. But think about that, folks. One league for the first time since 2003 did not win a state championship. Here's some foot speed to the outside. Down the sideline we go. Desmond Williams knocked out of bounds at the 20. Remember that name, folks. That's Desmond Williams, 5'10", 165-pound sophomore, and certainly he appears to be heir apparent to Terrion Stewart.
I had that same thought.
Did you
he's
really?
The guy that's going to be taking over next year at that tailback spot. And boy, can he accelerate around that corner. Look at those long strides.
And let's give a shout out to Rashawn Redding on that edge there, man. Nice block by Rashawn Redding to get him up the field. But what are we going to do, have a little holding penalty here?
This will be the end of the quarter.
There you go on that running clock.
Yes, sir.
Deservedly so. So we've got 12 minutes of football remaining, and the Sandusky Blue Streaks in control as we get set to go the final 12 here on BCSN. Sandusky High School will scrimmage from their 23-yard line as we open up play here. They wind the clock, we get going. And Chauncey Aaron will remain at the quarterback position. And he's got that sophomore in the backfield with him, Desmond Williams, as Terrion Stewart's night is over. Inside. Tell you, solid line play up front again.
And I would suspect that this would be Aaron's last. Remember, this is the only possession Sandusky's had in the second half. We talked before about teams normally get about 3 possessions in a quarter. In that third quarter, each team had 1, and the quarter ran out of time. So this will be their only possession so far of the second half for Sandusky. This will probably be it for the frontliners. Everybody else will play out the rest of the way.
Well, to work that play clock down here, as Sandusky will send Abbott and Castile bottom of your screen left.
Yeah, it's tough when you've got 11 minutes left in the quarter and you're already watching the play clock. Trying to milk as much time. Nice cut.
Oh, really quick
another
feet.
Nice cut.
Young man showing some quick feet and good cutback there by that sophomore. Let's keep an eye on that young man this year, Bill. We could see him in some interesting situations as the year unfolds with Terrion Stewart.
And normally you tell a running back, you get 1 cut to get to the hole. Once you make that 1 cut, go ahead and accelerate, commit to it. Well, he made a second beautiful cut and picked up an additional 5 or 6 yards after that second cut.
That's Mike Franklin right there coming into the living room, the head coach. And boy, he's got to be really satisfied with what he's seen out of his squad here tonight.
14th year, I believe, for
Yes,
Coach
sir.
Franklin.
Yes, sir. And they have an interesting game coming up next week. If memory serves me correct, I think they've got to go to a school that they play all the time, and that being the young men from Fremont.
That's correct.
They call them the Little Giants. And you talk about a rivalry partner, that goes way back, one of the oldest in the state of Ohio when you think about Fremont. Well, the Blue Streaks
just short.
Appear to be about a yard short.
Let some more clock run.
So J.J. Henry getting set to come in is to work that clock down. Mike Franklin taking as much time as possible.
Fremont Ross did lose last week.
Yes, they did.
To Tiffin Columbian.
What's that tell you about the SBC Lake Division?
Oh, boy. Tough. Every team in that division is tough.
Boy, you've got Clyde, Sandusky, Tiffin, Columbian, and Norwalk, all state
Bellevue.
playoff teams last year. At Bellevue, you know they're going to right
Should've.
that ship.
Yeah,
They should have
exactly.
been there. But yeah, that is a very, very solid league with Division III, Division IV high schools. Tough competition this year in the Lake Division.
The fact that Sandusky goes 1-4 in that division last year after starting 5-0, and then make the playoffs and win a couple of games.
Yeah, at 6-4, they make the tournament, and they dismantled Bay, and they shattered Lexington. I mean, they just shredded Lexington last year.
Streak score.
Yep, touchdown Sandusky. So give J.J. Henry an opportunity to get in the end zone, and that sophomore scores for the blue and white. Another young man to build on for the future. J.J.'s also listed as a quarterback, so one of those dual threat type athletes.
And he's going to hold on the extra point.
And it'll be Michael Franklin. Go one more time here tonight. Solid and through the uprights. So this lead is 55-13 as you get one more look as J.J. Henry, the sophomore, scores for Sandusky. So 9:03 remaining here in the fourth quarter. Back with more as you're watching high school football here on BCSN.
Think your school has the most spirit? If you do, and it's true, prove it. Send us pics or video of your hype football student section on Twitter and tag us using hashtag BCSNE. Get creative and show your spirit. Weekly winners will be presented with cool shades thanks to Dewey Furniture. On November 8th, one lucky school with the most energy, creativity, submissions, and school spirit will be crowned season winner and be presented with the Dewey Furniture Football Student Section of the Season Championship belt. Follow BCSN Erie on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for rules and how to enter. Let the games begin.
Out of New York City Music Hall, but those are the students from Sandusky High School, and why not? Kick it up, ladies and guys. Your football team has been solid tonight, and you've got reason to celebrate as we're going to wind up this last 8.5 minutes as we look to try to get something outside, but you'll find Springfield is going to scrimmage from about the 32, and the Blue Devils now, Bill Needham, would play a lot of their young underclassmen.
Yeah, I would think this would be the time to start filtering all those younger kids in. The kick line is still going down here, and I hope that they get a video of that and submit it to our student section of the week competition.
Very solid. Look at them. They got it going, partner.
Remember to hashtag it on Twitter as BCSN, hashtag BCSN Erie, so we can count it for the competition.
Sure is. Go down Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, get those rules and figure out what's going on.
Good screen pass.
Oh, we're going to get a touchdown here. So well executed. So Josiah Presley able to score that one for Springfield.
33 yards, or 73 yards.
Yeah.
77 yards. I'll get it right yet.
That's
67 yards.
Little breakdown here. Let's see where we go from. Looks like about the 28-yard line they scrimmaged from. So off we go. Boy, you talk about a wide open field there, my good man. There was nobody home for Sandusky. You get a look there. In pursuit is Javante Roldan, but he's not going to get there. So a quick strike for Springfield. I'm sure that's one that the coaching staff will look at and come back and say, okay, what was the scheme on that and what kind of defense were they in? Could roll a screen past that long. Is Bill untouched. 55-20. Back with more after this. Springfield has got 20 on the board here. A couple of touchdowns here in the second half. We'll kick that football away from the 10-yard line, and a lot of pursuit and a lot of pressure, and down goes Noah Caston. So that's where Sandusky will take over inside of 8 minutes remaining in this ball game. The Streaks we mentioned before, they're going to go down to Fremont, go down and play the Little Giants in a classic traditional matchup that goes way back, folks. We're going back into the 19th century for Sandusky and Fremont football. Well, I believe Springfield, they've got Olentangy coming up.
Yes, sir. Olentangy also lost the first week. They lost to Hilliard Darby.
Oh, that's a powerhouse.
Yes.
They're very, very good. As we've now changed quarterbacks, and looks like we're going with Mr. Franklin. So we'll try to get outside, but nothing going on there. Looks like that's number 16, Antonio Talley. Another sophomore, as Mike Franklin has decided to give a lot of those underclassmen the opportunity to step on this hallowed grounds of Strobel Field.
Nikari Johnson, a junior, was the guy that came up on the corner and forced that play. Got the stops for Springfield.
Well, Streaks, as we mentioned before, a play clock is at 12, and Michael Franklin will use it all up. I think being the son of the head coach helps a little bit in clock management.
I'm sure they've had a few discussions at the dinner table
once or twice about how to manage a game if you get an opportunity, and how to work the clock. Is to bring up a 3rd and 14. And mentioned, Bill, that now they go with a 40-second clock in high school football. When the ball is spotted, the clock operator will reset and go 40.
That's correct. Trying to keep the pace of the game up, and if there's a timeout or an out of bounds, they can go to the 25-second clock as normal.
No hands on the hips was the quarterback, sophomore. Inside of 5 seconds now before they take this snap. Leg driving, powering forward is Antonio Talley.
And Springfield would like nothing more than to force the punt, which they will here. So the Streaks have 4th and 11, so Springfield's going to get that ball back one more time.
So Franklin to kick this one away, low snap. Gets off a solid kick though, hit at the 42-yard line. Sandusky with good coverage at the 48. Boy, getting down there in a hurry and making a high tackle to wrap him up is Dylan Pollard. So tonight, this Sandusky Blue Streaks got busy early. In fact, this is our Sandusky Dornhardt play of the game. This is what started it off, Bill. That 43-yard interception by Noah Caston gave the Streaks the lead, and they were on their way.
It just changed the momentum of the game. Well done by the senior who read that pass all the way, stepped in front and picked it off. Our Sandusky Dornhardt play of the game.
And we'll just mention that set the tone and the tempo for this entire contest. As that first quarter, Sandusky was up 27-0, and they just kept the pedal down and really put the hammer down on Springfield here tonight. Again, this is a home-and-home series. Next year, Sandusky will make that travel over to the northwest side of Toledo to take on the Northern Lakes League representative next season. So inside of 5 minutes here. And we'll stay with the starting quarterback, one Darnell Thomas.
Devin Johnson was the intended receiver, and they went back to that screen. The screen has worked well for Springfield, and they're using Sandusky's aggression against them. So a good job by the coaches in the booth calling the plays for Springfield to keep that in their back pocket, that screen pass will work.
And now the Streaks have sprinkled in a lot of their underclassmen, giving the fellas an opportunity to step out on the field. Defensively, that was Javante Roldan in there. Is that pass high for Devin Johnson at Springfield. Bill, your observations and takeaway as we were inside of 4 minutes.
Well, we kind of came into this season believing that Sandusky was going to be a good team.
Yes.
I think they were underrated by the conference coaches in the voting.
Yes, they were.
I think they're better than what they thought at that meeting. So this is a good ball club. They had to get things together. They did. They worked it out in this ball game. They used momentum to carry them into a big score, and they put up a lot of points on the board, which we know they're very capable of.
You know, on the Springfield side, you do see some athletes out here individually that have skill, but it's collectively is what they really have to work on.
We talked about they had a rough opening, having to go against Central Catholic, and things didn't work out there at all. And then to come here and run into a buzzsaw in Sandusky to put up a lot of points early, but they've battled back.
Yes.
The Blue Devils keep coming, and they've put a couple of touchdowns on the board here, and they're in territory where they can put another one up.
Yeah, and these are things that any coach would like to build on. First thing you want to do as a head coach is make sure that your young men continue to compete.
Correct.
I mean, that's what you want in the second half.
And that
when
was
you're down
Josiah Presley on that carry, and there's a young man that's been competing through this whole ball game. He's given it everything he's got out there, and that's all a coach can ask of a kid at any time. Give me what you got, and we'll go from there.
2nd and 6. Quarterback will look, step up, and into the end zone we go. So Darnell Thomas showed good patience, got just enough of a room to squeeze that one in for 6, and with 2:25 remaining in the contest, Springfield on the board again. You're right, Bill. They've had a nice 3rd and 4th quarter offensively.
Exactly. It was supposed to be a pass play. It was covered. You see Thomas cocked his arm ready to go, but once he saw the receiver covered, he found Pager. Takes it into the end zone.
So run that 11th man out here very quickly. We'll split the uprights. So PAT is good by Kelly. And we'll look at the scoreboard and we'll see 2:25 remaining and 55-27 as into the end zone goes one Darnell Thomas for Springfield as the Devils score. Back with more after this. Down 28, you can try an onside kick. We'll go deep and we'll play straight up on the scoreboard. As it'll be Caston coming out. Noah will be tripped up at about the 20, and Sandusky will take over for more than likely their final possession of the game with 2:19 remaining.
I just mentioned that onside kick in the break because it was something that Springfield could have practiced given a game situation, and it probably would have come as a big surprise to Sandusky if they had tried the onside kick. If they gave Sandusky the ball at midfield, what does it matter? You're still down 28 points. It doesn't matter if you get beat by 28 or 35. What difference does it make? Practice those things which you need going forward. There's no Vegas spread on this game, is there?
No, they don't do that at the high school level, my good man. Is they try to run outside and get a couple of yards, but swarming defense by the Blue Devils.
And the coach will tell his running backs, stay in bounds. Keep that clock running.
And secure that football. And Antonio Talley did that, as well. A lot of guys going after him. So Sandusky will find their record now to 2-0, while the Springfield Blue Devils will go to 0-2 early in this 2019 season. Olentangy up next for Springfield, and Sandusky traveling down to Sandusky County to take on their longtime rivals, the Little Giants of Fremont Ross, stepping through a couple of tacklers and out across the 35 to about the 39. Quality run, Antonio Talley, a 5'9", 150-pound sophomore, Sandusky does have some quicks in the backfield, Bill Needham.
Absolutely. They've looked very good with their 2s and 3s coming in to run the ball. Somebody on the sideline told him to tuck his shirt in.
And you've also got a lot of the young men up front along that front line stepping on the field here tonight.
And Springfield has sent in a lot of their second string also to give them some of this action on Friday night under the lights.
Ooh, an introduction in the backfield as Springfield was all over that. That's led by C.J. Odell. Odell, a senior defensive lineman at 195 pounds. So we'll have one more snap here tonight. And, you know, we always like to talk about our player of the game, and certainly we'll have that for you here in just a moment. But I don't think there's any question who that's going to be for the blue and white, do you?
I don't know. We've got a couple of people we can look at here.
Oh, I think the guy that was taking the snaps tonight was pretty darn good. I'm talking about number 12.
Running back had over 100. Yep. Great defense by Caston.
A lot of dancing and looking, as that's going to complete the football game here tonight, as the Sandusky Blue Streaks, they did it all, folks, here in that first half, as they basically rolled this team from Springfield and come away winning this contest tonight by the final of 55-27, as both teams will head to the 50-yard line, and the shaking of the hand as we've wrapped it up here in week 2, as the Sandusky Blue Streaks out of the Sandusky Bay Conference come away beating that team from the Northern Lakes League, that being the Springfield Blue Devils, by the final of 55-27. So with that, we'll step aside. Final thoughts on our player of the game as you've watched high school football right here on BCSN. As the Blue Streaks of Sandusky down in front of their marching band, as those numbers were pretty solid tonight, Bill Needham. As we mentioned earlier, it was Sandusky from the beginning, the middle, and the end, as they just ran away with this.
Yeah, it was what the Streaks needed. They needed that game where they scored a lot of points and it was easy for them. This was that game. So the Streaks came on and performed very well.
And certainly getting themselves ready for the big matchup against their rival, Fremont Ross Little Giants, next week down there at Harmon Field. And certainly quality play on both sides of the football for Sandusky tonight. But I'll tell you, our Pat O'Brien Chevrolet player of the game, we're talking about number 12, the quarterback, Chauncey Aaron. Exceptional night tonight, Bill Needham.
The big man showed speed, he showed agility, he showed strength, and a good throwing arm. So the kid had a great ball game tonight.
Yeah, 242 yards rushing. He had 3 touchdowns, and I'll tell you, he did some dancing into the end zone a couple of times, and he showed great leadership and poise as he led his ball club right from the beginning of the game. And he is our Pat O'Brien Chevrolet player of the game. Congratulations again, senior quarterback Chauncey Aaron, as he comes right into your living room for 6 points, as the Blue Streaks run away with this one tonight, putting 55 points on the board. So getting those jumping jacks taken care of. Cheerleaders out there at midfield with them. And with that, we're going to wrap this one up from Strobel Field, Cedar Point Stadium. We'd like to thank Dewey Furniture and Carpet for being with us as always, and quality work by our crew here at BCSN in Erie County. And for my partner, Bill Needham, this is Ken Walters, reminding you as always to be sure to keep watching your high school sports right here on BCSN.